Hello, my name is Eddie Kirchhoff, and I'm going to be explaining the importance of hawks and why it is important that we take care of them and why they are an important part of the animal kingdom. First part, raptors are known as a barometer in the animal kingdom, which means that they serve as a way to monitor ecological health and environmental change effects. With hawks, they are the top of the food chain. They are known as top-level predators. Something that's really cool about the hawks is that because they are top chain predators, they are affected by the environment and things that we do to the environment. Like pesticides, things that animals will eat, that the hawks eat, can affect the hawks. Other things like that. Habitat loss also are a reason why hawks are in decline, or if they would be in decline. Climate change also is a big key as to why hawks could be in decline. If an area happens to have lots of construction going around, decimating populations of other animals, or just they have to vacate the area, you're going to see a lot less hawks in those areas as well. Hawks also, because of that, are known as an indicator species. Researching the population trends of raptors provides a cost-effective and efficient means of detecting environmental change. Again, things like global warming, things like that, decimation of habitats, we can kind of see where the hawks are going and what they're doing. It's very interesting things there. And because of these things, it can lead to conservational action, steps that we as biologists take steps to kind of bring back populations, sort of like how hunting season comes in. It's regulated every year. You're allowed to know how much waterfowl or how many deer you're allowed to bag and tag. Be the same thing here with the conservational action, and that's driven by the newest scientific data. Things like the Hawk Watch site that we established over on Caputo there with Hawk Mountain was a big thing that helped us be able to do that. Now, the great thing about hawks and why they are so important to the ecosystem is because they play huge roles in controlling rodent populations. Not only that, smaller mammals or reptiles, lots of invasive species, which invasive species are other species that are brought here, kind of take up resources from other animals. The hawks pretty much kind of get rid of them, which is an awesome thing, kind of just, control population. Also, hawks such as the turkey vulture get rid of carrion there. Carrion is just another name for roadkill, essentially. Anytime you happen to see a dead animal like a possum or something that's on the road, these vultures will get to it. They have a very good sense of smell, but that's one of the key roles about raptors in the ecosystem, which is really cool. What makes a raptor, really? Well, first, the word raptor means repere. It's a Latin word which is known for to plunder or seize, which is really cool. But today it's mostly just a term we use that means birds of prey. Now, what else makes a raptor are their very unique characteristics. Now, all birds do have feathers, yes, but raptors have extremely exceptional vision. They got to be able to see their prey from high up so they can dive down and get it. Another really key characteristic is the talons here, very sharp talons. That's what they use to snatch their prey out of the water if you're a bald eagle, or out of a field if you're a peregrine falcon. The other thing, the last and final characteristic, is the hooked upper bill, as you can see right here. Hawks need very sharp bills like that with hooks to be able to pry and tear the flesh off of their food. So that's another really unique characteristic there about the hawks. All those things are what they have adaptations for hunting, which makes them the best aerial predators. Different types of raptors here are things probably you mostly know of, like the eagle or the falcon. But the boodio and the occipiter are medium-sized hawks or raptors that all follow into those kinds of categories. Now you have your eagle, which is your large soaring bird. That's the one that you see mostly flying the highest altitudes. The boodio and the occipiter are mostly known for their agility, maneuverability, being able to fly through the forest or deep brush to be able to get their prey. And the last of the falcon down here at the bottom is the fastest flying bird. Like I mentioned previously, the peregrine falcon obviously is a falcon. And those are the diving birds, the really fast Top Gun flyers through the air. Really interesting stuff. And as you can see there, each one from the top on down to the bottom. Just even the wingspan different here. Like this one here's got a droop. That one there is just a long crest above. Very, very different things. Out of all the species on the planet, there are 450 total different species of raptor, and 34 of the common diurnal species, which means they only come out during the day, are found here in the United States. 20 nocturnal species, which means they only come out at nighttime, are also in the United States. Now, the nocturnal species are only owls. Only owls come out at night, and they are only the nocturnal species there. Really important in the raptor life cycle there. You have two different migration periods, the fall migration and the spring migration. Then you have the summer nesting and the wintering. The two migrations are pretty much what you think they are, flying upwards and downwards through the equator. Lots of falcons will fly as south as South America, dip into Chile, or they'll fly as north as Alaska. It really kind of depends on what their nesting grounds are, warmth, feeding ability, and those kinds of ranges. If a hawk were to stay through the winter at a certain place and find that food is very scarce, but they found a hunting ground that was very beneficial, they will repeatedly find that nesting ground or those hunting grounds as well. Because it just proves beneficial, they'll just continuously go at those places there. Like I said, too, the North American raptors, they migrate twice a year, and the migration serves as the most optimal time to keep tabs on the overall population. Like I said, when we're over here at Caputo, we're monitoring our hawks. Those two types of seasons are where we see the absolute most activity during the migrational seasons. And how do those birds migrate? Well, you have something up there called thermals. Now, if you've ever been in a hot car or a car on a hot day, you will see air rising off the ground. Same concept with thermals. Now, a hawk will get these thermals that rise up off the ground and catch them and fly as high as they can, and then they'll soar off of those. Those are what those large soaring birds are that I was telling you, the eagle, the vulture. The updrafts are pretty much what they sound like. In the mountainous regions, you will get a lot of that wind gusting up against the mountains, and it will create that updraft that lets the birds take off through flight. Leading lines there are the lines that are, if you've ever seen a globe and you see those lines all over the equator or all over the globe, the equator is the biggest line. Those are things that birds also use to navigate through. It's kind of like how certain animals, like salmon, can find their way back to where they were born. Nobody knows how it happens. And then lastly is obstacles. You don't see a lot of, or if any types of raptors soaring over large bodies of water. So you never got to think about them passing over seas or oceans or anything like that. There's no thermals, there's no updrafts, there's nothing that's going to keep them going. It's very costly for them to sustain their own motion of flight. Nesting and egg laying there. Raptors are very inclusive creatures, so you mostly don't ever see them with other birds unless they are mating or nesting. Then they also lay their eggs in places that are very hard to get to. Eagles, you usually see them nesting along river rapids or high mountains. Very hard to get to. And typically they only lay 2 to 4 eggs. And that's just in one clutch. Usually also only 1 to 2 of them will survive. It's usually law of nature, survival of the fittest at that point in time. And fatalities among raptor young usually fall into the same things about habitat there. Human disturbance, we're cutting down forests to build shopping malls that has a very huge impactment on young raptors. Also, low prey availability or competition for nesting grounds. Sometimes hawks will kill each other fighting for the prime nesting grounds, so that will also have an effect on the younger hawks there. Wintering is the most trying time for young raptors. Most raptors do not survive their first winter because it's just so harsh. Food is too hard to find. The conditions are just too rigid for them to kind of survive through, and it does prove to be very difficult. Also, competition looms very large with the lack of so much prey around and so many raptors. Again, competition is fierce, so most raptors do end up starving to death in their first winter. Again, raptors are typically not social, but they will congregate in prey-rich environments during the wintering season. It's usually the only time that you will see a lot of raptors congregate together, not really worrying about each other so much to say, unless there is prey around, because then they're going to compete for it. But sometimes they will all just kind of wait around for something going on, not bothering each other because of how bad the weather conditions can be in certain areas. That's why, too, the habitats are critical when wintering seasons come around for survival. You need those prey, because otherwise they will just starve out. And that is the big reason as to why hawks are important. I mean, just their overall impact on the environment, how we can affect them naturally, and how we can use them to kind of moderate what we're doing as a society. If we could cut down habitat loss, we would see a lot more thriving hawks, and they would take care of us if we took care of them.